Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the LFC transfer room. Damon here with Kev, Misha, and Reese. And Reese is ready. This is parental advice, by the way. If you've got children at home, please make sure, because Reese is dressed for the occasion tonight. He's dressed for a little striptease at some point. So please get your handheld fans ready, get your ice water ready. I know it's a hot day anyway. Reese is going to make it even hotter. Some big news coming out today, guys, regarding Ait-Nouri, Arda Guler, Nico Williams. So three big names in terms of two Euro stars right there in Williams and Guler. But also a little bit further on Ricardo Calafiore and Edison as well, and a little bit on Joshua Kimmich. No movement yet in terms of the transfer window for Liverpool. Obviously, it's still Euros. Olympics is just around the corner. Copa America is still going on as well. So it's going to be expected to be quiet. However, there seems to be more movement at England at the moment in the front line than there is in terms of Liverpool movement in the transfer window. Kev, welcome tonight. How are you feeling? A couple of days away from footy. We've got 1 month until Liverpool do kick off as well in the pre-season against Real Betis. Are you bored of international football yet?
No, I'm quite happy watching as a neutral, watching football as a neutral, not having any kind of association to anyone. It's kind of nice it's a nice feel. And there's been some belter games, and but no, all good, mate, all good. Glad to be on again.
I think it's made up, and when it's a good tournament like this, it does make up for the lack of club football. Misha, first stream with me. How are you feeling, mate? Are you looking forward to this this little thing we're going to get from Reese in a minute?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm excited.
He's excited, okay?
Yeah.
You got your handheld fan ready?
Yeah.
Reese, are you looking forward to club football coming back, first and foremost, or are you still enjoying the internationals?
I am looking forward to it, but I am enjoying the internationals. What I am enjoying is a lot of the smaller teams causing some upsets and things like yesterday. Georgia won. I don't think people realize that was quite a big deal, because I think that's their first major tournament. And I think I don't know who, but I think there's one player. I think he's only been playing like a year of like football, and then they've also got a population of like 4 million. So I always like the underdog as well to win. I don't like it when it's just the same old teams winning. So yeah,
it's made it a bit more exciting. Yeah, it's made it much more exciting. These underdogs really going for it.
Yeah,
they're showing England how to really give.
And I was just happy yesterday because everything was going against Ronaldo. He was just getting so frustrated, and it was just giving me a lot of pleasure. Because for me, he shouldn't even be playing. Jota's not playing because he's playing. Because Martinez doesn't have the balls to drop Ronaldo. He's 30. Yeah, he ain't got it anymore, but he wants to still play him. So when he was getting frustrated about every little thing, I was loving every minute of it.
One thing we do love is on here is a little bit of a Ronaldo, a little bit of Ronaldo bashing, not PG, not PG bashing rather than the bashing you might be thinking of. Anyway, let's go straight into the news. Ait-Nouri today it was came out by an Algerian journalist today called Abdel Ahmad. Praises to him as well for getting this out as well about Rayan Ait-Nouri. Wolves left back. Liverpool are in pole position to sign the Algerian left back, with Andy Robertson sort of dropping off in recent seasons. Kev, is it time now to bring proper competition for Robbo?
Yeah, without a doubt. He's been highly looked at. I've liked him every time we played against him. He's always had a decent game against us. That's the only time I've actually watched Ait-Nouri play. He has had a few injuries, but they look to be behind him now. He played the most games last season for Wolves. I think about 32 games or 33 games he played last season. He's good. The thing is, it's something different to what Robbo is. If you look at his stats for goals and assists, and nowhere near the level that Robbo usually gets, but that can be brought into his game if needs be. But no, he looks a solid left back and a lot better than what we have available underneath Robertson at the minute. And he does need that kind of competition, especially coming in the latter years of his years. We still need him round for his leadership, but I'm quite happy for him to. He is one of them that I do want. I do like Ait-Nouri, and I hope it goes further than just us being in pole position.
I mean, we're not exactly proper. When I think pole position, right? When you watch Formula One, pole position normally wins. They normally stay there. But Liverpool are not ever pole position in terms of Formula One. They normally drop back into out of the point system when it comes to transfers. But Kev, having said that, how do you think Robbo responds to this? If Nouri to come into the door, do you think it's going to be a positive response, or could it knock him back?
It'll always be positive with Robbo. You look at what's happened with Scotland as well. They've tried and accommodate Tierney playing in the same team as Robertson. He revels in this, and it brings the best out of him. I know Paul's talking about him defensively, but at the end of the day, if he's coming to Liverpool, he's going to be less defending, and even if he is asked to and required to do so, he'll be trained and managed with better quality players who will show him where to be and where the starting position should be and shouldn't be. It will be part of his duties, of course, but that can be learned and trained on and initiated, and Robbo will be one of them that will be leading them along and showing them how to develop into a Liverpool style of left back, because it's not a traditional left back that we usually use. So it'll be good to see how that plays out. But no, Robbo, his leadership and his captaincy that he's got with Scotland will come out in this, and he'll understand that with competition keeps it fresh, and it ensures that you got the players there around you who can adapt to different situations. He knows he's not going to be playing every game this season. Going forward, a bit of competition doesn't do anyone any harm. It keeps everyone on the feet and it keeps everyone on the toes. And that's the way you want it to be. You don't want anyone to be stagnating and realising that I'm the only one here, which he has done because Tsimikas hasn't done anything. And it took Gomez to come in to do a decent job. And then we saw flitters of what Robertson can do. And we'll probably see that going during the course of the season. But with more games that are coming, we do need that quality there, especially going on for this season.
Without competition, I think complacency can sneak in so easily. We saw it with the midfield. Our midfield dropped off, and about that, we didn't really address the midfield for 4 or 5 years. So we saw Henderson drop off. We saw Fabinho eventually drop off, and we couldn't replace him because there was no really on the bench to really put on and keep them on the toes. Going forward, Misha, regarding Robbo, I saw a big account, a personal account today, and I couldn't believe I saw it. I just think it's standards with that. Is he said, will Robert accept being backup? But it's not being backup, is it, Misha? It is physical competition, and it's exactly what Mane got when Diaz came in. How important is that competition for Robert?
I cannot say if it's competition necessarily. I honestly think that if we get to buy Ait-Nouri, by the end of the season, he's number one. Is Robertson still a great defender? Yes. Is he still a threat in attack with crosses, with finding spaces, with the vision? Yes. But we saw him last season. He got injured. We needed someone there. Tsimikas, I think he's on his way out. I think we'll look to sell him. The young boy, Calvin Ramsey, he's going on loan. So that leaves only 2 of them, maybe Gomez there. I think Robbo's almost 30, maybe 30 now. I think it's time for someone fresher, someone who can play more games. I don't think Robbo playing 35 games. I don't think he hasn't been playing 90 minutes every game last season. There's always the risk of another injury. I think if we get Ait-Nouri, by the end of the season, he becomes number one. Maybe even mid-season, he is number one. I don't think Robbo is going to be mad at it. I don't think he sees that the competition is just the cycle of life. You played your part. He was bought young. I think he was 23, 24 when we bought him. He has 6-7 years. You played your part. He's past his prime. Now we need someone else who is to achieve his prime. That's what we did with the midfield last summer. Now we did that with a left back.
I mean, Robbo does seem the kind of person to happily step back if it improves the team and the team's chances of winning titles. I think he's more of a team player than most. So Reece is a perfect person to say, hang on a second, go on, Ait-Nouri, I'll play behind you, and if you do drop off, I'm here to pick up the pieces anyway. And again, if Robbo plays outstanding to his best ability, then Ait-Nouri might not even get a chance. You know what I'm saying? It's just that it's keeping people on the toes, isn't it?
No, 100% competition. I've been screaming that for the longest time, and I think with our team, as much as we was great under Klopp for most of the time he was there, you could see some players at times when we do have certain performances, it was complacency because they know they're not going to get dropped. With Robbo, obviously, I would like to think that, yeah, he would like understand that someone else is there, but based on his character. But you don't know because at Liverpool, it's never been that for him. Obviously, when he first came, I think the first 5 or 6 months, I think it was that. But then after that, he's always been a mainstay. But like what Mish said, I would think Nouri, if he come in, obviously he would have to get up to scratch as well. And it depends who probably has a better preseason or who looks sharper. And then if Robert is playing well, then yeah, he plays fair enough. Obviously, but I do expect whatever left back we bring in that halfway through or by the end of the season, they should become the number one. But I'm all for like competition because it keeps people on their toes. You know, you can't really drop the ball if you know there's someone else who's hungry, who's waiting in the wings.
Pole position and getting him to do different things, though, isn't it, Reece? Do you think we really get someone like Nouri and really push Robbo?
I'm not sure unless you're going to get a left back. That don't seem like that's the I don't know necessary because obviously it always keeps changing. It keeps saying I'm sure I see that left back's not essential. Then today it's centre back's not. Then the other day DM's not. So I could see.
Wait, get it down. Just admit we're not getting anyone. Let's just nip it.
No, I think we'll get players, but we got to bear in mind that it's the Euros, man. The only team that's really been trying to get players is Chelsea. But when you look at it, who are Chelsea really getting? They're just buying for the sake of buying. So, right, I think to be fair, Liverpool's business is done. I just don't think it's come out yet. And everyone's more frustrated because you don't know what's going on. But like I said, I prefer it that way with Edwards. You kind of move in silence. I think when we do announce, it will be back to back. It won't be like one player and then another player. It will be like it's like all together. Like this one's done, this one's done. They just haven't announced, and everyone's frustrated because it doesn't look like we're doing anything. But there are 2 major tournaments going on with the Copa America and the Euro, so everyone's kind of got to bear that in mind.
If you are watching, get your comments in, get your opinions in on Ait-Nouri. Would you like Ait-Nouri to come to Liverpool? Do you think it's perfect competition for Robert? And is it this summer is the perfect chance to get him and give Robert that opportunity to come off and on the pitch and get the best out of him, especially in his older age? You know, he's not that old, but in his maturing age of a footballer, does he need that rest that he doesn't really get without drop off with Simicast at the moment? If you are on YouTube and Twitter, please get your comments in live. If you're on Twitter as well, come over to YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and press like on this YouTube video. Ait-Nouri has kept Salah every time we have played Wolves, so this is good stuff. Nouri isn't good defensively. I don't buy it. I hope we sign Nouri. Nouri has impressed every time we've played against him, and that's what Kevin alerted to earlier. That has been very impressed with him when we've come up against him. So, and we tend to look at players that play well against us. You know, with like Núñez, did it with Diaz against Porto. But I agree with you, all three of you. Like, Robbo needs this competition. If he doesn't have this competition, then it's easy to have a drop off. It's easy to be complacent. We saw it with Diaz and Mane. Once Diaz came in, Mane picked up because Mane was being quite complacent before Diaz came in, and Mane found a new life at centre forward position, and we've played it better the rest of the season. But we can't accept just saying, "Oh, that's it. We've got Robbo, best left back in the world," and then Owen Beck obviously is a youngster coming through, Chambers as well, but. Are they the ones we don't know? Pre-season's a chance for Slot to see his team and see if they're good enough or not, and maybe then loan them out if we do bring a left back in. It's definitely one to consider. I think a left back. I think most people want a left-sided player at least in the centre back position that could play left back and to cover Robbo anyway. Worry about him as a defender. Certainly have to not watch him play much. Nouri shut down Salah a few years ago when Salah was Salah. Yeah, it wasn't even like the latest Salah either, Troy. So. But we worry about Trent being a defender as well. Don't forget this, and he's the best right back in the world. So I won't worry too much about it. We're not really a defensive side anyway. We're going to be an attacking side. The biggest news I saw today in terms of excitement is possibly these two next, and that's Guler and Williams. I want to go on the Guler situation first because that came from Graham Bailey. He said that as a loan deal for Arda Guler is quite possible with Liverpool, which would be quite an incredible move. But a loan deal, Misha. Can you see Liverpool making a loan deal like Arda Guler and not putting something in place then to say we want you long term? Or would Real Madrid accept that?
I honestly don't believe it. I think that's rumors. I don't know how much, how solid is that info, but I don't see Guler moving. I think they offered him a loan because he wasn't getting playing time in Real. He was getting frustrated. He was not even getting subbed in. He chose to stay. I think that's the right move for him. If he doesn't have anyone in his ears to tell him to move, I think he should fight for his spot. He's playing. I'm a Liverpool fan. Real Madrid are the biggest club in the world and have been. There's no bigger club. If Real Madrid signs you, there's no higher step for you in your career. If you're already signed there, you gotta fight for your spot. Let's say, imagine a situation Liverpool go for him. He plays great for Liverpool. Next season he has to return to Real. Maybe there's no place for him anymore. What's going on then? Then you have to hope someone wants to pay your wages, wants to pay your transfer fee. Nobody's going to do that for a young player. He's 19. It's hard to break in Real's first 11 as a 19. You have world-class players, Chouamini, Camavinga, Bellingham. It's almost impossible to make such an impact in your first season. I think he should stay far for his spot. I don't think we definitely need someone. Why would we need like another midfielder? Central midfielder or attacking
He has had an injury this season. He had a big injury this season, which stalled his place in the Real Madrid side. And so they're getting Hendrick in, they're getting Mbappe in. He's played outstanding for Turkey, Reece, at right wing. I don't know why Paul said this. Liverpool don't sign players on loan. Please don't let me remember the two players that were signed on loan, Paul. Please don't remember. They're now banned words from this channel. But Reece, he's played outstanding at Turkey. Is there any point in loaning someone like that if they don't see a possible long-term move for him?
No, if they don't see a permanent long-term, I wouldn't loan him. But he's a talented player, but also you got to remember as well, this tournament, not to say he's not good, but he could be playing really well right now for Turkey. And then he might not be at the level you want him to be at as well. And that's not, even though he's a talented player, that's not really the midfielder we need. Like I said, we need a 6. So, and again, like what you said, if it's not looking to get him permanently eventually, for all we know, he could have a great year loan with us, and then Real Madrid look at him and think, oh, actually, we want to keep him. And then it was just a loan deal. So a loan puts
Real Madrid in the end of the balls in their court, isn't it? It'd be hard for us to really push for that.
Or he plays really well, and then they decide, oh, we are going to sell him, but because he played really well for you, we want this amount for him. So, and you know Liverpool with prices for players. So, yeah.
What do you mean? We pay all sorts, mate. If we don't care about price at Liverpool. You should know that by now. We don't care. We'll pay whatever.
Wait, I'll see it when I believe it.
Kev, Guler is the kind of standard we'd need to be looking for, though, isn't it? Whether it's a loan deal or not a permanent one, it's the standard that we should be looking at.
Yeah, I always think that we should be looking at the talented pool of young players that are out there worldwide. And that goes for anyone, regardless of who they are and what position they play. You've got to be in that pool to get the likes of finding like a Kylian Mbappe, who was 18 at Monaco, the likes of a Tuchemeni, who also played at Monaco, Fabinho. There's endless players that you can look at through the years. Odegaard as well being another one that Helios mentions there. You've got to be in that in there to look at it. But I agree with what Reece said. You've got to be careful to a degree as to what we're doing. And, I don't think Edwards will be naive enough to be going to Real Madrid to try and loan a player of that standard without having something at the end of it to benefit us in a certain way. I agree also with Reece as well that he's not necessarily the player that we should be looking at, because he can play everywhere across the midfield and attacking, and it's not necessarily a position that we should be looking at, because we're abundant in many of those areas, apart from the one that Reece clearly mentioned, which was the number 6 role. So unless it's someone like that, then it's nice. It's great to see what he's doing. He scored a worldie against for Turkey during the week.
Was it against Georgia?
Yeah,
First
yeah,
game,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. But it'll come down to the player. The player may have the confidence and the belief that he can stay at Real Madrid. There's the question that needs to be asked with the player, and if the player's up for coming out on loan, then I'm all for it. If there's a position for him in our team, and at the minute, I think there's other players abundantly in the position that he plays that will provide us with more than what he possibly will do in the first 3 to 4 months of the season. So I hear what people say about Odegaard. Odegaard is a quality, absolutely amazing player. And it was about 2 years that from the age of about 15, everyone was asking for him. He goes to Real Madrid, it hasn't worked out for him, and then he decides to go to Arsenal. And, but you got to remember, it's exactly the way Arsenal wanted, and it was a position that they were crying out for, that they didn't have a quality. And that's another thing that you need to look at. It's all very well saying, oh yeah, let's get them and play Football Manager, but it has to fit in what Slot sees as our formation going forward, and if it's in the style that we want to play. So I'll be all for it if Slot's for it, but I don't see how we fit him in with the players that we currently have at the. It needs some to go before I'd even be going. Yeah, we should get him.
I mean, the only place I can see him fitting in now is really just being back up to Salah. But does he want to be back up to Salah on a loan deal? That only works again if there's a permanent move in the end of it, but we're not guaranteed that. Louis said you said Luis Diaz is leaving Liverpool. I don't know who's Luis Diaz, but there is reports about Luis Diaz. I'm going to move on to that now, actually, with Luis Diaz situation, Louis. Actually, there is plenty of reports coming out the last 2, 3, 4 weeks. It seems to be a report every week about Luis Diaz possibly leaving Liverpool and the members of Barcelona. So I think there is something into it, possibly because of so many of them and so many people keep coming out of it. But it is today's report is about actually Nico Williams, Atletico Madrid's Nico Williams, who's been sensational again for Spain in the Euros. Liverpool have inquired apparently to Mundo Deportivo that we have inquired for Nico Williams at Atletico Madrid. Slot is actually open for Diaz to go onto this report as well, Reese. If a player were to come in, I mean, a lot of us do doubt Luis Diaz at times. You know, he's sensational in some games, but it's just not enough. Would you happy to let Diaz go if it was replaced by someone as good as Nico Williams?
Yeah, I would be happy with that, and I'm sure I saw that. Obviously, Barcelona are really going out of their way to try and get Diaz. I don't know if they've got the money now. Or they're waiting to try and sell Rafinha in it for a certain amount to Saudi, and then obviously if we was to get a sufficient replacement, which for me Williams is a bit younger, and I think he's a really talented player. I'll take him. Obviously, if Diaz was to stay, I wouldn't mind him staying, but obviously the end product's got to improve, and I would expect Slot to work on that. But yeah, I don't mind him going. For me, if we're going to get someone, even for someone at the backup for Salah, someone from the front line has to go, because we've got quite a few players that I don't think they're just going to buy someone, and everyone who we've got right now are part of our front line is going to stay.
Misha, what's your thoughts on Luis Diaz? Because again, we know he's got the qualities, right? But there's rightly doubts there, and his end product, like Reece just said, if that doesn't improve, then we're going to have to look to sell him on, because we need to start being a bit more brutal with the forward line in terms of the goals and the whatever they bring as well, because Salah can't keep doing it by himself. Misha, where's your thoughts on Luis Diaz? Would you be happy to see him leave, or is it just one of them?
If there is an opportunity for him to leave, sure. I think it was one of the more unusual signings. I don't know if it came from the board or maybe Klopp was really keen on him. They bought him at 25. Klopp said he was a late bloomer. He hit really his peak form a little bit late in his career. Then again, his ceiling is not that high. I think he gives us at most one more good season if his next season is good, and then I don't see if he can improve that much. He's already, I think, 27, so at that age, I don't know. Of course, every player is different. He might hit his peak at 30, but still, if there's an opportunity, I just don't think there is. I don't think there was anyone interested beside Barcelona that says that Deco is a real big fan of him. They want to buy him. I don't think anyone else is interested in buying it. And Barcelona cannot afford him unless they... I don't think they can even afford him if they sell Rafinha. I think the information came out that they can only sell some percentage of their sold player. They can spend on players some percentage of their sold players. They don't have the funds to do it. That means that we sell Diaz for cheap. That's not good business. That won't even fund the Nico Williams. Nico Williams is good, but I think he also came and said, I just signed a deal. So he's playing coy, or he just doesn't want to leave yet. I think maybe he wants to give at least another season in La Liga, and then maybe he'll be ready for a move for whoever is there for him.
He's on quite big wages, I heard as well. He's on quite big wages over there.
Nico Williams at 250, 300, I think. That's what they're saying. And
we're not going to pay that.
For a 19, 20-year-old player, that's crazy money.
I think players like that, though, if they were to leave someone like Atletico Madrid, sorry, not in Atletico, I don't know how to say Atletico Madrid, it's Atletico Bilbao. Sorry, I do apologise, it is Bilbao, isn't it? But players to leave teams like that, they know they've got to take wage cuts to play for teams like us. They've got to see the end product and say, I'm going to a better club, so I'm happy to take a wage drop. If he does or not, that's up to Williams. If we go for him. Kev, the Diaz situation, it seems to be every single week there's going to be new reports about Diaz leaving. So do you think there is something concrete there? Do you think there is more fire behind the smoke?
You can't say there's not, but I do think the elements of it is his agent probably getting his name out there as much as he possibly can and try and force a move, try and force Barcelona's hand. We don't really need to sell if we don't need to, but if you look at his record, and he played over 50 games last season and he only scored 13 goals. That's not enough for me. And only 5 assists. I don't see him as a Mane kind of player. I don't think he plays that more of a centre forward kind of role that Mane had. I think his role should be more as a winger, and a winger should be looked upon as his assists. And the numbers aren't there for him. And for me, that's where the problem is for me. Now, if there's movement for him to move, then I don't think anyone would say no to it. If you ask majority of the fan base, I think a lot of fans are at the forward line would be more. There's more reason for people to get behind a Diaz moving and creating a space for, say, Gakpo playing out there, or a Núñez playing out there, than anyone else. So it frees up a space for me. But only if it deals right, and only if it deals right for us. I think the number I've heard is 50 million, which I think it's a bit low for me.
You'd want your money back, wouldn't you? You'd want your money back.
Well, yeah, at least, and a bit more on that. So for me, it all depends. It all boils down to what Barcelona can do, and for some reason they have a magician who can sell Rafinha to a Saudi club for over 100 million. It's just just to get them out.
It's that grass. Don't like it. It's that grass. They're selling their own grass. To make the money, they're selling their own grass. They're selling the pitch grass instead of the different kind of grass they could get. If that's where they're going, I know they prefer Diaz to Nico Williams, as they're also meant to be on that. So for me, if a deal is available for him to go, then I think it'll leave a space and allows us to bring someone else in. So. See, Kev, I don't like this either. I don't like this. If it is his dad and his agent are fueling the fire, I don't like that. That's his camp, so he knows what's going on.
Well, yeah, but that again, it goes back to what I say and what I've said previously on other streams. You've got a lot of elements going on. You've got people throwing it out there from our side of view, going, we're not interested in defenders. We're not interested in that. Trying to keep it low key, to keep it low profile. Then you got agents from other clubs trying to either batter a new contract or putting names out there so that it gets people thinking, oh, well, he's available. Then we're hearing the numbers. We don't know how much is true. And it goes back to what Reeks is saying. We've got 2 major tournaments on. There's not a lot of news at the minute, apart from Chelsea likes everyone that plays football at the minute. Other than that, so that's where we are. We're in that stagnation of we're waiting for domino effect. Everyone's looking at Barcelona to see what happened with Rafinha. does that then free up? I thought Mbappe moving to PSG makes see PSG go in the market and sell players and bring people in. But it hasn't happened yet, and I don't know when that will be. I don't know whether more teams come out next week from the round 16 or the quarters where we'll start seeing that. But there's loads of people playing mind games with everyone at the minute, and there's too much clickbait at the moment to put your nail 100% commitment on. Yeah, that's right, and I agree with it. But that hasn't helped either, because he comes out of a jungle after being held hostage, and the first thing he says is, "Oh yeah, my son wants to play for Barcelona." Happy days, do you know what I mean? It's just it's what you want, isn't it? But again, it comes down to Diaz. If Diaz wants to move and he's having other people to do it for him, then if that's what he wants,
can't stop him.
Do it. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it earlier. The South Americans have the thing for Barcelona and Real Madrid. It's the Spanish language. It's the Spanish culture. It's the same. Similar sort of place to live, similar sort of football mindset as well. So it's understandable. Look, if Diaz wants to go, then happy to go. But someone like Nico Williams comes down. I mean, people say his wage is quite high, but you got to look at his price that I was selling him for as well, like 30 to 35 million possibly. You got to look at the whole package. That's quite cheap. When you're getting 30 to 35 million for someone that is that good at that age, then is it okay to pay that wage, Reece, do you reckon?
I think the price he's going for is, for me, that's kind of Liverpool's ballpark, and that's what they kind of went for when they did get a Salah and a Mane. It was them prices. I don't think we would have to pay him those wages. I think we could give him 150,000 maybe, and then incentives. And because he's coming to Liverpool, he's got more chance of winning trophies. I think he'll probably put his wages down. I think the reason he's even getting that there is because they don't buy loads of players. So obviously, whatever money they had left, they put that into giving him that because he's their star player. But for me, it's too good to turn down. If Diaz does leave, it's a no-brainer for me. I'll buy him.
I mean, you're looking at the other wingers that's available. What Leao, you're talking about 80 million for that. That's Ferrat Sakelia is like probably the same, 60, 70 million. Nico Williams is probably the best price out there in terms of what we're getting. Given the wages, Nico would cause discontent in the dressing room. I don't think the players that bothered though. Players want to win trophies. They're here to win trophies, and someone like Nico Williams comes in and helps you go to win trophies. I don't think they're that bothered as much as what you might think they are. You've seen Van Dijk before. He said himself, I want players to come in. I want to be challenging for these titles. They're not going to look back in 10 years' time when they're retired and look, why wasn't I on 300k a week? And Nico Williams was. They're looking back at the trophies and thinking, look at what I won that season. Look at my legacy. I think players are a bit more, not glorious, but a bit more focused on their own legacy rather than the actual wages they get. They all get decent wages, by the way. And like Reece just said, I don't think Williams will come over and get 300k a week, no matter what. I think bonuses might help get to on possibly 200k, including bonuses and incentives, possibly. But again, it's up to Williams again he knows he's going to move to a better club. No disrespect to Bilbao, a bigger club, a chance to win Champions League, chance to win the Premier League. He's got to take that price cut then in terms of wages. But if you're looking at the actual structure, is it the whole deal? It's a cheap price for fee. So you need to break it down as well. I think it's a bargain for Liverpool if we were to go for someone like Nico Williams. Going on from Nico Williams then into midfield, two players that have been linked to Liverpool in the last year or so is Ederson for Atalanta and Joshua Kimmich at Bayern Munich. Joshua Kimmich is actually available this summer according to Spot Build, and it's 25 to 33 million. We spoke about him last year, I think, Reece, actually, on this very channel around this very time of the year about Joshua Kimmich. 29 years old, obviously a veteran in football, But last time we got Thiago from Bayern Munich, injury prone, Reece. It worked out at times when he did play best player on the pitch. But can we take another risk with that with someone like Joshua Kimmich?
I don't think Kimmich would be a rich. He's not really. Obviously, Thiago even though he's a great player, he's known for having injury prone record. Kimmich not really known for that. I think as much as having young players, you got to have that balance of experienced players, and he's someone who's kind of done it all for internationally and at club level. He can play a few positions as well. I would take him because for me, you have an Endo there and he's got that age. And for me, even though Endo's good, I'd put it's not even close if you compare him and Kimmich. So yeah, I'm a big fan of his.
I think Kimmich would have been the perfect Endo signing last season. With the age thing, obviously he's a little bit younger than Endo, and he's much more experienced at the top level, especially Champions League.
Yeah, if I had my way, I would have got him a few years ago because we've always kind of been linked to him. But like you said, if we're going for titles and things like that, he's someone he's ready now. He's not gonna, for me, need an adaptation period or need to adjust to this and that. He's been used to playing at the very highest level for a long, long time. So if that's the price, I would. But like I said, at the minute, Liverpool's kind of been linked to every player. I would even take Emerson as well, one of them, because for me, you need a 6. I think he's a good player. He's got good attributes as well. Yeah, one of the two I would take.
Go on. I'll carry on with you then, Reece. According to Fabrizio Romano, that Ederson's going to be difficult to sign because Atalanta want to keep him. They don't want to sell 2 players in the same position.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
So Liverpool would have to need to focus on elsewhere, wouldn't they? So Kimmich is a difficult one. He's talented, but it's just the age. And
then again, I forgot to mention is the wages. Even though someone like that, I'll just give him the wages he wants. You got to bear that in mind with Liverpool, the wages. And even though I know it shouldn't affect players that, because it's about winning trophies, but maybe not a Kimmich, but when it was with someone else like a Williams who's not as proven, I think some players would be a little, if they think, oh, he's getting that much and he's just come in, I want more now. Even though they shouldn't look at that as much. If you're winning, players do kind of look at them things like.
I think the ones that are not playing might look at that a bit more than, say, like Van Dijk, for example. I can't see Van Dijk really looking at that much. Unless it's ridiculous. Like it's 300, if we're paying Williams 300k a week, then that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There is limits, and people don't earn. I mean, Salah doesn't even earn that.
If it's like I said, if it's like a Kimmich or someone, say like when Thiago come in when he was able to get put on that money, you can't bat early because he's a top player. I think you can't really say nothing. But if it's a young up and coming talent, I wouldn't say they're going to make loads of noise, but behind the scenes, some of them will be thinking, he's just come in. How is he on that amount? Even though, like I said, you shouldn't really look at that because if you get certain players and they come and they help you win trophies, then that's the reason why they're on that amount. And the aim of the game is to win trophies. But yeah,
I would personally pass on Kimmich. I think it's another one where I think the boat sailed with that. I think we should have gone last season or the season before. If we were to get someone of that age, it could have been the Endo side in last season, would have been even more perfect with some of that experience. Misha, regarding Ederson though, Misha, is that another boat sail, do you think? Obviously, Atalanta not wanting to sell. Do you think we should just focus elsewhere now?
For Ederson, I don't think the rumors ever got that serious, or the speculation, or even whatever it is. I don't think it got that far that we should even consider him. Like, of course, there was rumors. We were interested. Liverpool were interested in a lot of players. For me, in that position, in the 6, that's personally me. I think the best options are in the Premier League right now. The only downside to that is that it would always come in more expensive than looking abroad, looking somewhere in Italy, in Spain. I don't think the options are that good. I think the best 6s right now are in the Premier League, anywhere from a smaller club like Nottingham even. They have a good midfielders. I don't remember exactly the names, but I know that they have a good 6 there. There was a couple more good midfielders again. Premier League, the thing is that Premier League clubs, even the smaller ones, they're too rich. They would want too much money, and of course, again, the wages. But Kimmich and Ederson, I don't see him as options. Ederson would be fine. He's still on the younger side. He played good. He showed it. Atalanta, they played us. They dominated us. At least one game they played. So we know how good he can play pressing. He's stubborn. Yeah. But we don't even know how Slot is going to play. Like, we have an idea. We think that he's going to play similar to Feyenoord, but I'm sure that he'll have to make tweaks. The leagues are very different. He'll need to feel how it is the first games. It's good that we have an easy opponent in the first game, but we still don't know exactly how Slot is going to play, what adjustment he's going to make, and what kind of player is he looking for.
He'll be shocked when Slot comes out with a 1-1-8 formation. I would like Liverpool FC to sign Nico Williams, replace Diaz, and Johan Bakayoko to replace Mohamed Salah. It's very two good options there, Nelson, and good replacements. Obviously, youngsters coming in for players that maybe need to kick up the backside sometimes. Certainly, it's certainly looking to the future rather than bringing in a ready replaced person for Salah as well in terms of Bakayoko. Going on to our defence, Kev. It's annoying me now, this, because it's same last week with a centre back is not a necessity. A Conte Athletic, a centre back is not a necessity. What's your initial thoughts about that? The centre back's not a necessity.
This is a proper game of chess, and it's basically a game of Texas Hold'em. Everyone's keeping the cards close to the chest. Liverpool don't want to come out there and convey to the whole world, we are looking in this position and we're looking at this, because then that sparks prices going up and and people then know your priorities within the transfer window. As Reece said at the very start, you want Liverpool to be the quiet assassins, go about it, have them all lined up, do the business in a day, and then watch everyone go irate because we then turn around and go, and that's our business done already. So that's the way I want it to happen. It's, we're going to hear more of this. We're hearing that number 6 isn't our another area that's not a priority, and then we're hearing from other people that we could actually solve that issue, and then Endo comes out with his with his remarks. It's a game of cat
I think
and
he's trying to push. I think he's trying to push it as well. It's sick of it and all.
I need some help here. But at the end of the day, I think we're lining things up and we're staggering them into a certain priority order, and we're trying to keep. I think that we're trying to keep a low key on it and keeping it as private as possible, even though a lot of people are being frustrated. But as we've already said, there's a reason for that. You got 2 major tournaments on, a lot of players not in. This is probably the worst time for a new manager to come in, I think, is the fact that the amount of international players that we've got out who are part of our starting 11 that we don't necessarily, he's not going to see till probably the first game.
Late pre-season,
you know what I mean? Or maybe later on in the likes of Salah and certain others who may get picked for the Olympics. So it's a bit of probably the worst time we could have got rid of a manager and brought a new manager in. But having said that, I do think it's a game of cat and mouse. It's infuriating because we have to talk about this every day on a daily basis, and like the journalists, we have to turn it in a way and talk about it in a way that makes it more interesting than what we said the last time we were on. So it is what it is. But for me, I think we do have people in a priority order. I do think that they are going to all fall, but I think some of them may already be on international duty to start talking to. So
I think I'm in the. I am patient right now. I know the Euro's going on. I'm not throwing my toys out of the pram just yet. That might come a bit further down the line. May give it a month or so, and we still haven't done anything. And I might be live like on here for that as well. But I'm patient about it. I know we've got to move silently. We've got to do what we've got to do, and stories are going to come out regardless. We've said this every week, haven't we, Kev, where these newspapers need money. These journalists need to get paid. They need to put players food on the table for their families. So they could come out with anything at this point. But I'm also thinking it as fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
There is a bit of that
as well, because last season we didn't sign a 6, and everyone wanted a 6, especially myself. And if we don't address that situation now, and the fact that Endo's come out and said, "Come on," I mean,
no, but I agree with that. But then you look at the structure is not the same as what it is this season. We have someone who's back in who has a ruthless sword. No one is actually safe at the minute if you're looking at it in personally. But again, you've got to trust in the process, and it is going to be a bit infuriating. It is going to be a bit of Groundhog Day over the next couple of days, weeks. Probably the end of the month, maybe. But with that said, you've still got to roll with it, and you've still got to stay with it, because eventually we will be bringing players in, but part of it's going to be down to what Edward, Slot, Hughes have all decided on. Hughes likes Italian players. He was brought up in Italy. He had an opportunity to play for Milan, didn't actually go there. So I can see why we're getting linked with Italian players at the minute, and Italian clubs. A lot of, and especially at the moment where you got Italian teams doing well in Europe as well. So I can understand that. Do you know what I mean? However, it is that month where it's insane, and the amount of stories that we've been linked with and players is similar to what are on Chelsea's books at the minute. It's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? And it'll continue. But all I'll say is, how many of the top 6 sides in the Premier League have actually made any kind of signings? I don't think anyone has. Have they?
Not really, no. Aston Villa, I'm counting them as top 6 side, by the way, right now.
They have made. They're the only one, I think.
Yeah, they're the only one, and why? Because of PSR. So again, they're making moves, and they have to make more moves than what the likes of us, Man City, Arsenal need to, because we already have a groundbreaks and a template that will already be in the top 4 for next season. There's all that kind of certainty with us unconsciously that we are going to be there. The likes of Villa are going to have to make strides and try and get ahead of us with certain players in certain positions and keep that quality and that form continuing into next season as well. It's all very well getting there now, but how are you going to cope this season? Because as we saw with Newcastle, they faltered, and that was due to the fact that the amount of games they're going to play. This is even more this season than what Newcastle will be played last season. So does that going to go on? They need to build on their squad, but keep within PSR. So that's the only reason we're seeing them jostling things around and trying to get around the loopholes with PSR by swapping players with Everton, buying players back and stuff like that. So apart from that, no one's really made any moves of any significant moves, and I don't think anyone will, possibly until the end of the Euros, possibly. Do you know what I mean? But we'll see. It's going to be fun. Then we should enjoy it, embrace it, mate.
You know what? I'd enjoy it more if I hadn't learned from the lessons before. Because I've seen it for years now, where we do this and the same stories come out and the same journalists will come out and the same things. I feel like it's deja vu all the time. This is why I'm sort of wary at the same time as being patient. I'm not patient about it. I'm happy at the moment because it's the Euros and it's understandable.
To be honest, we have made a sign, and we made Japanese Airlines our new
Please
sponsor.
don't, Kev. Please don't, Kev. The meltdown might start now. Anyway, but
we've got to pay for Reese's OnlyFans, haven't we? That's why we bought Japanese Airlines, mate.
Reese is going to donate his OnlyFans account anyway to straight to Liverpool Football Club for signings because Jen's stopped donating. But what I'm wary of it's not even Edwards and Hughes. I trust Edwards and Hughes to work with whatever they've got. It's just whatever they've got to work with. That's the thing. And this is what I'm saying. If we've got a certain budget of 50 million, for example, without sales, then they've got to prioritise the centre back. And this is why a DM might not be an option. Or they've got to prioritise a DM, and the centre back might not be an option. It's the budget that they're working with. And whilst I see fans laughing at Man United's budget and stuff like that, we've had that same budget for 10 fucking years straight now, so I don't know why we're fucking laughing at Man United for with the same budget. But someone said to me the other day, are we waiting for sales as well? Are we actually waiting for sales? And that's why are we waiting for sales if that's a possibility as well? We shouldn't be waiting for sales either. Misha, if we do start making signings, when would you think that would be? Would you straight after the Euros?
It doesn't matter. Probably would be like the interests are gonna start increasing after the Euros. Yeah, when players are on vacation, I don't think it's gonna be a lot of time with players. It's gonna be with their agents. I'm 100% certain that the number one priority should be a center back. I think we played it too close last year with the injuries. Now Matip is gone. We cannot afford. Worst case scenario, Konate and Van Dijk or Konate and Gomez get injured at the same time, what's going on then? Who are we playing? We have no one to play then in center back. So at least that should be the first signing for me. As soon as possible. It doesn't matter, but that should be the first one. We were playing it a little bit too, I don't know, like on the surface of this for the fans, it looked
playing
like...
with luck. It's playing with luck, isn't it? That's what it's doing.
Yeah.
We're playing with luck. Yeah.
Last year with the 6-rower list until we signed Endo, everybody was on the edge of their seat. What are we going to do? We still need one more. We ended up signing Endo and Gravenberch. That was good, and in the end we started the season and everyone was calm. I was calm as well. I was like really nervous. So we signed Maka and Soboslai. That was good. I think this summer we should act quicker with the signings. I don't think we should wait until August or September, even if September is not, like until the end of August. So as soon as possible, sign a center back. At least that. If there's one signing that Liverpool should make, is a center back signing as soon as possible, whoever it is.
I see a centre back and a DM being just as prioritised for me.
Yeah, my ideal window would be centre back, DM, right wing, and then eventually the left back. But that's, again, really ambitious. But if it's one signing that Liverpool should make, should be a centre back. Centre backs cost a lot. A good centre back costs a lot. I think the priority of the money, whatever the budget is, should be spent on a centre back.
I don't know if it is ambitious. It's ambitious what we're asking for the way our club runs. Yeah, I think it is. But I think the bare minimum for me is centre back, DM, and a right wing at least to replace Salah. That's the bare minimum. And if we get that, that's good. It's a good window, especially depending on who we get as well. But then we've got to start. We need to stop doing bare minimum, Reece, because if we just do bare minimum all the time, we're going to be left short again. And we're not finding a problem later down in the season, and people called for that earlier on in the season. Reece is live on his OnlyFans as well as here, so he's trying to get the communication right.
Sorry,
at the
repeat
right point.
that. I didn't know that was for me. Sorry, David. Repeat.
So basically, bare minimum for me is centre back, DM, and a possible back winger to replace Salah. But is bare minimum enough anymore?
No, it's not enough. For me, bare minimum is a centre back, a DM, and then a backup, or not even a backup. Someone's come in and compete with Salah.
Yeah.
So two to three for me. But knowing Liverpool, there'll be an era where we should address that. There will be like, we don't really need to address that right now. We'll wait till next summer or the January to address.
See, that's why I have problems with that as well. Because, I mean, Paul says here, there's a game-changing DM out there, Liverpool likes. If there's one, they'll pay it, but they're not signing one. But what are we waiting for? Are we suddenly 15-year-old's going to come out of blue next season? What are we actually waiting for? Because they're acting like a DM's going to come out of the blue next year, and we're going to get him. But we need a DM now. Whether it's it's got to be a game-changing one, but there is definitely players out there that's going to make a massive difference.
For me, sometimes you don't always have to need a game changer. Sometimes it could be a good player, and then if he was to come to Liverpool, he can become world-class. So there are definitely players out there, but yeah, they shouldn't be waiting for a game changer, because
we could be waiting forever.
If you're always waiting for a game changer in every position, most of the time you're not going to sign anyone. Everything's just going to pass you by. So. But I remain confident that Liverpool have probably sorted out who they're getting. We just hasn't been announced yet.
I think we've got to learn our lesson from last season when obviously Endo did what he could, but when Endo wasn't there, we had to play McAllister at 6, and it worked to a certain extent, but McAllister was absolutely wasted at 6. I don't want to see that again. I don't want to see McAllister at 6 this season. I don't want to see Gomez at 6 this season. I want round pegs in round holes. I don't want square pegs in round holes. I need to see round pegs this season and good round pegs at that. Okay, before we do go, let's talk about the Euros a little bit, because we've had some good performances, some like the Gakpo. Trent did okay at England for what he got, 5 minutes. But is there anyone that stood out for you apart from Gakpo so far in the Euros, Liverpool players?
Apart from Gakpo, not really. No, to be honest, I think the stuff around Trent I'll let Reese talk about it and talk about it, because he talked about it beforehand and he talked very well about it. I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon, but I think the way England have utilised Trent in these championships shows the problem you've got with a manager who isn't capable to deal with players of a certain, who are potentially world-class players, and hasn't dealt with players of that kind of magnitude before. And it's a problem that England have always had. They've had these players before and don't seem to find a way of playing them. You know, you don't have to go back too far to where the Gerrard, Scholes and Lampard, that all three of them couldn't play together, but they could. So there's always that disparity with England, and the fact, and there's a realisation with the fans of how well they could do and potentially do, and certain formations and opinions on how to get there, but they don't necessarily add up with the same as to what the manager is, who is very conservative in the way he plays and his style. That said, you then look at the other teams, you look at a small team in Scotland, and people to get on that bandwagon, but then you see a small team yesterday in Georgia who played Portugal out the park and qualified because they have a style of football and they all bed into it and know how to play with it. So, and that's the difference. It's tournament football. Some teams are versatile to play in that and know how to adapt to a tournament football type of play. A lot of these players don't. We tend to bang and put people in, as you said before, square pegs and round holes, and try and put our best 11 out there, but it's not necessarily the best 11 team-wise, individually. It's a bit like Chelsea in a way. We'll play 11 quality players who are individually on their own are fantastic, but when you put them in a team, it doesn't work or doesn't gel. And that's where you've got to, don't get me wrong, Southgate's done well to get out of his groups with his conservativeness, and sometimes it's worked in his favour, as it has done this year as well, if you look at the draw. But I think Gakpo's been quality, but he's always been quality when he plays for Holland, because he plays in the position that he naturally plays. The problem with Liverpool is that because he's got that versatility about him, we've played him again in positions that we have asked him to cover, and he will do. And if you listen to a conversation he had with Klopp around the table, which is on YouTube, that Liverpool did, it's a discussion that he has at the end of the season, that you see the difference in him. It's understanding that when I'm asking you to do that, I'm not asking you to do X, Y, and Z. I'm asking you to do what you normally do, but a bit further back. I'm not asking you to do more work or as such. So for that wise, I can't think of anyone other than Gakpo who has actually had a decent Euros, but it's been great to watch it. I like watching tournaments. It's great because I can just sit there as a neutral,
just enjoy the football,
and just enjoy the football. And look at different players. You look at the centre back at Italy that we're linked with, who can also play left back. Look at it. He's got that massive look about him when he plays and walks out with the ball and has an engine on. It's great. It's great to see, and it's great to see these. But I have nightmares of watching these players, because I then go back to the likes of Ali Diouf and Salif Diao that we're going to sign when after a tournament. So I have nightmares.
Yeah. Jamie says, "Who are your favourites then? You're around the 16 now." I still stick with Spain. I said Spain from the beginning on my own personal podcast. I said Spain. I expect Spain as winners, and Austria being a dark horse, by the way, as well. I said Ralph Rangnick is going to surprise a lot of people. I said this in my predictions before.
Spain or Germany or Portugal, and then Austria as the dark horses right now. And again, that's a small team, but you've got a manager.
They've got players,
who's going to allow them to play football, and he's got a system. He knows what he's doing, and he's brave. So,
it's definitely regarding Trent though, Reese. If he don't start at right back, then they're just not gonna get the best out of him. I don't think personally. I just think it's ruining his reputation as well. He's gonna get all this from England fans that don't support Liverpool saying, "Oh, we've told you we're shit. We told you we're shit." Play him at right back, and you'll see a different player. Who crosses to Kane, I think you'll see an absolute different player.
Yeah. The only thing is, I would say, is a lot of them ones calling Trent shit I can't really read into that too much, because how can Trent be shit when he's won everything? Yeah, I mean, he's been to 3 Champions League finals. They talk about experienced players, but when you deep it,
He's the most experienced one there.
He's probably him, and alongside the other Man City players, that Trent's more experienced than Kane. He's played more in Champions League, more experienced than Saka. So, like, for me, like I said, you need a manager who's more brave. They're playing the right system, but you're playing the wrong personnel. You gotta have runners, or like you said, if you do play him, then you play him at wing back. But I just think it's the manager, his approach, and some of the players he hasn't took. Those experienced players that he left at home, which was like a Rashford, a Sterling, a Grealish, Barkley, players who have actually played on the international stage. They know what it takes to play under that kind of pressure. I know we've got a lot of young talents like Palmer, Eze, I think Wharton, but these guys can wait for other tournaments. But with England, whenever they come across a talent, they feel like they got to use him now instead of letting the player develop. So I think hopefully once they change the manager, things could improve. But also it's a question of whether they go away from keeping it English, because I think even if they got a foreign manager, that might even help things. Someone who's kind of understands the international stage a bit more.
And understands the players that they're working with as well, and can work with world-class players and get the best out of them. Misha, do you think Trent will get a chance at right back? Do you think he'll get another chance again in midfield as well, possibly?
I don't think it's so important where he plays. I think in the England squad, with the way that they're playing, he's bound to fail. I don't think there's a winning position or anything where he can show. We know Trent is class. We know his passing ability. We know his vision. It doesn't matter if you put him at right back or in midfield. I think he can succeed in midfield in any other club. And he just needs to have the proper system. You give him the right instructions. You allow him to be free. In midfield, you actually would remove. He's not the best defender. Like, he's a right back, but he's not that good at defending. He still struggles. I think he feels nervous when he comes across like someone that's really technical and powerful against him. So if you put him into midfield, he doesn't have to deal with that much. That also gives him more power to go through the middle and see other types of passes. If they want to give him a chance at right back, perhaps he would feel more natural, but I still don't think he'll be able to show exactly what he's capable of, what he's shown at Liverpool, because the style of football that England play is just poor. I don't think anyone can play good football there with a system that Southgate is giving them to play. You have world-class players there that play in club level world-class. They're all either champions, future champions, or just world-class overall. Every one of them. But somehow in the England squad, they are all poor. They're mid players. You cannot guess from this tournament that any of them is good.
What I do have to say, though, if you want it to come home, I think Trent has to play. He's just that big of a player, that difference maker. Absolutely, you need someone like him playing.
To play over Gallagher. Gallagher doesn't have a place in the squad when it comes to Trent. If you have to choose between Gallagher and Trent, we saw what Gallagher did. I don't think I spoke with anyone, but I was thinking that Gallagher was gonna get booked and substituted by halftime. He didn't get booked, but he got substituted by halftime, and that was to me was obvious. I don't think Gallagher is good. He's just not Trent level, and it shouldn't be a choice between them two. If it comes between them two, it's always Trent, 10 out of 10 times.
I'm hoping Trent does get that chance again to prove himself, not just for proving himself for England, but proving himself for himself, because he deserves the accolades that we give him as fans. I think he deserves that on a bigger scale, and I think he'll get that if he gets played properly with Southgate. Thank you everyone for joining tonight. Also, Ait-Nouri, we're in pole position for Ait-Nouri, according to journalist, an Algerian journalist. Arda Guler, possible loan deal. A bit on Nico Williams, Ricardo Calafieri. Also, I would go Calafieri. Actually, Calafieri, before we do go, that Arsenal are interested in the centre back as well. So that came out from Fabrizio Romano. Just in case you want to keep up to date on the Calafieri situation, that Arsenal are interested as well. So we may have a battle on our hands for that player specifically. A little bit on Edison tonight, Kimmich and Nico Williams as well. please enjoy your Euros, rest of the Euros. Again, like I said earlier, a month away for Liverpool play their pre-season tour match against Real Betis at 1:30 English time in the morning. Good luck with getting up with that one. But please enjoy the rest of the Euros. Enjoy your weekend, guys. And thank you. Thank you for joining in.